High above the mortal plains, where the clouds spun themselves into silken threads, rested the floating city of Suvarna. For 10,000 years, it had been anchored to the heavens by the colossal roots of the kalpavriksha, the world tree. Its leaves wept golden light that nourished the realms below. But now, a creeping frost born from the abyss of Patala had begun to petrify the roots. The gold was turning to brittle ash. In the grand courtyard of the Sun Temple, High Priestess Ela placed a glowing, multifaceted crystal into the hands of a young warrior. It was the Surya Mani, a teardrop of the sun itself. The heart seed freezes, Devrat, Ela's voice echoed with the weight of centuries. If the frost breaches the core, Suvarna will fall, and the earth will be plunged into eternal night. Devrat bowed, the brass plates of his armor chiming like temple bells. Strapped to his back was the Agni Chapa, a mythical bow carved from the horn of a celestial stag, capable of firing arrows woven from pure daylight. Beside him stood Ananya, a wind weaver draped in azure silks, her eyes swirling with tempestuous power. "We shall not fail, revered one," Ananya said, her voice like a confident breeze. Without delay, the duo leapt from the edge of the floating city, diving into the swirling abyss beneath Suvarna. Ananya raised her hands, weaving the rushing air into a sphere of updrafts that slowed their descent, guiding them safely down alongside the impossibly massive, bark-covered pillars of the kalpavriksha. Down they fell, past the cloud layer, into the twilight zone where shadows grew thick and hungry. The air turned bitterly cold. The bark of the world tree here was not a warm, vibrant brown, but a sickly, iridescent black. From the creeping dark emerged the Nishamrig, shadow panthers with eyes like burning coals and claws made of hardened night. They leapt from the massive ledges of the roots, lunging at the descending heroes. Devrat drew the Agni Chapa. He did not reach for a quiver. Instead, he pulled the bowstring back, and a brilliant, blinding arrow of golden light materialized between his fingers. He released. The arrow shrieked through the air, piercing the lead shadow beast. Upon impact, the creature dissolved into harmless black mist. Devrat fired again and again, his hands a blur of motion, raining radiant destruction upon the swarm. Ananya danced in the air, her palms thrust forward. "Vayu's wrath," she commanded. A localized hurricane erupted from her hands, sweeping dozens of the shadow beasts off the roots and plunging them into the infinite dark below. Finally, they reached the base of the chasm, a vast, cavernous hollow where the grand roots converged. At the center rested the heart seed, massive as a royal palace. But it was suffocating. Thick, obsidian-like ice encased it completely, pulsing with a malevolent, chilling heartbeat. Standing guard before the frozen seed was the Shadow Warden, a towering mass of shifting, spiked armor wielding a tremendous axe of pure darkness. "Ananya, the seed!" Devrat shouted, rushing forward to meet the giant. "Melt the ice!" Ananya sprinted toward the heart seed, holding the Surya Mani aloft. Devrat slid under the sweeping arc of the warden's axe, the sheer force of the blow shattering the stone floor where he had just stood. Devrat fired 3 rapid arrows at point-blank range into the giant's chest. The light scorched the dark armor, but the warden roared, backhanding Devrat and sending him crashing heavily into a petrified root. Devrat gasped, his vision blurring. He saw Ananya press the Surya Mani against the black ice. The crystal glowed furiously, battling the freezing dark, but the shadow was ancient and dense. The frost was fighting back, beginning to creep up Ananya's arms. The Shadow Warden turned its attention away from the fallen warrior and raised its immense axe to crush the Wind Weaver. Knowing what he had to do, Devrat pushed himself to his feet. Gripping the Agni Chapa. He closed his eyes and channeled every ounce of his life force, his prana, into the weapon. The ancient bow began to hum, vibrating violently as it absorbed his raw energy. The celestial horn began to crack, unable to contain the sheer magnitude of the gathered light. With a battle cry that shook the very foundations of the cavern, Devrat hurled the overloading bow directly at the Shadow Warden's back. The Agni Chapa detonated. A shockwave of incandescent, blazing sunlight exploded through the cavern. The sheer brilliance vaporized the Shadow Warden instantly, turning its dark armor into wisps of nothingness. The wave of pure daylight washed over Ananya and struck the heart seed. The obsidian ice could not withstand the celestial heat. It shattered into a million harmless droplets, evaporating before they even hit the ground. Free from its frozen prison, the heart seed eagerly absorbed the Surya Mani from Ananya's hands. A deep, resonant thrum echoed through the earth, a sound of profound awakening. Suddenly, veins of liquid gold erupted up the colossal roots, chasing away the black rot. The Kalpavriksha was alive once more. Devrat, battered but smiling, walked over to Ananya as the cavern was bathed in a warm, eternal dawn. High above the mortal plains, the floating city of Suvarna gleamed brighter than it ever had, anchored safely by the light of a renewed world.